What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm here to do my video for the deep dive into the Dolphins' current linebacking core. So that is next up on the list, and then tomorrow I will be doing free agent linebackers that are possible targets for the Dolphins in the offseason. Before I get to that, though, I do want to mention something that I forgot to mention yesterday. I did want to mention it because it was wide receiver related. And it was actually news that came out yesterday that the Dallas Cowboys may be, or rather, they are likely to release Amari Cooper. I know Dolphins Twitter was blowing up about it and stuff. I've never been huge on Amari Cooper, but I certainly wouldn't mind, bringing him in, giving him a shot if they are to release him and see what can happen. Obviously, he was a former first-round pick. He didn't work out in his first spot, ended up right now with the Cowboys, got traded if I'm not mistaken, and then now they are probably likely to release him. So there is something to be said about all that, but certainly wouldn't mind if you can get him relatively cheap, especially with guys like Michael Gallup and Mike Williams and Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, all these guys who are likely to go back to their teams. I wouldn't mind giving him a shot. Even Odell Beckham's probably going to go back to the Rams, right? So I wouldn't mind giving him a shot, see what he's got in training camp. And it couldn't be any worse than what we had, the past few seasons. So there is that. I did want to mention that really quick. And then we are going to go ahead and jump into the business. So, as usual, start off with, go ahead and make it a little more front and center. My position rankings by need, starting with the offensive line. Tackles are number 1. Right tackle, left tackle with center then is the next priority. I'm not worried about guards. They're not on the list. Running back at number 2, wide receiver, linebacker being a true middle, defensive line, edge over tackle, cornerback, tight end, safety, quarterback, backup being needed, and a specialist being punter. So, and by the way, in case you haven't noticed, I've been doing these videos in order of my position rankings. So we've gone through the offensive line, running back, wide receivers. We are now on linebacker. True middle is what we need, although I will be taking a look at a number of different linebackers, even if they aren't necessarily just middle linebackers, although that is what we need, and I'm really hoping that somehow or another we can manage to get Nakobe Dean at 29. If we could get Nakobe Dean at 29, that would be such a dream. Get him at 29, get one of those running backs, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Spiller in round 2, and then come back and get a wide receiver in round 3, especially after, you pick one up in free agency, you address the offensive line in free agency, you get a right tackle, a left tackle, and a center. That's how I would do it, right? You got the money, bro, and you're going to cut other guys on the roster. More money's going to clear up. So money shouldn't be an issue for this team whatsoever this offseason. It shouldn't even be close to an issue. So, that's what I would do. So we'll see how it plays out, man. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, we're 11 days away from the start of the new league year and, free agency opening up. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this because, again, today is going to be the deep dive into the Dolphins' current linebacking core. And I'll give you kind of an idea of, who I think should stay and whatever. Now, let's just understand something, though, that a lot of when I do, my what I think should happen at specific positions, we do got to keep in mind, what I think about all the rest of the stuff, right? So getting taking Nakobe Dean in the first round and then getting, a running back in round 2 and a wide receiver in round 3, that is highly contingent on them actually addressing the offensive line in free agency. Otherwise, it remains the top need going into the draft. So if they don't do anything, or if they don't do anything that's adequate in free agency, then that still will remain the top need, and it could totally change things. And I could be like, look, man, there's still a good, some good offensive linemen out there, and we really need that. So, but I'm hoping hoping, and obviously in these videos, I'm kind of going off the assumption that they do what I want them to do, which, probably won't happen, but maybe. And I do at least feel pretty good that, even if they don't necessarily target the players that I would like them to get, they'll at least address the positions and do it, adequately at least. Cause my dream scenario, like if I had an absolute dream scenario, man, we would get Trent Brown, right tackle, Terran Armstead, left tackle, Ryan Jensen, center. Offensive line would be set then with right guard being Robert Hunt, left guard being one of those other schmucks. I'd probably actually say Kinley if I'm being honest. But you also have Eichenberg, Dieter, Austin Jackson, Robert Jones. You have all these guys, so one of them motherfucking schmucks can fill in that left guard. And with all those savvy veterans and shit, you're fucking good, bro. You got 3 of them. That would be a dream scenario. Then you get Nakobe Dean in the first round. Oh, and you also get, one of those wide receivers. I guess maybe in free agency. I guess maybe, an Amari Cooper, or with all those other guys potentially going back to their teams. Again, I would bring in Mac Hollins, but he technically is a free agent, although I would go after another one. So maybe like a Christian Kirk or, whatever, or maybe an Amari Cooper or something like that. One of those guys, right? Anyway, and then Nakobe Dean in the first round. Let's say, I always say all 3 of them because you never know how the board's going to fall and stuff, but Breece Walker, Kenneth Hall, or Isaiah Spiller in round 2. And then this draft, by all accounts, is pretty deep at wide receiver. So even if you do miss on some of the top talent in the first couple rounds, you knocked out some really important positions of need and got some damn good talent at those positions, being linebacker, and he would be our true middle linebacker even as a rookie. And then our running back situation, and then you can still get a good good wide receiver in the 3rd round. I feel pretty confident. So anyway, let's continue on, because again, I'm getting a little off topic here. I'm getting into these dream scenarios because it is fun to think about. And man, if they were able to execute, like I know it's, easier said than done, of course, and blah, blah, blah. But I really do feel like if I ever was given the chance to like run an organization, I do think that I would be able to do it well. I don't know the X's and O's stuff. So, obviously I'd leave that. But like, I think I could be a good GM. I do think I could be a good GM. I think I could run the organization, and I think I could draft properly. I think I have the right kind of philosophies, even though some of them are unorthodox. But I think that it's tailored to a more well-rounded, complete product that is built for, sustained success. So anyway, enough of that. Dream scenarios. Let me get into linebackers. So the Dolphins' current linebackers, Jerome Baker, he's going into his 5th year, $9.73 million current APY. He's 25, obviously still pretty young. Jerome Baker, look, I like Jerome Baker. I always have liked Jerome Baker, but I agree that he was overpaid with this most recent contract extension because he's very limited. He's very limited in what he can do. He's really, really good at what he does, but he's very limited in that, right? Being that off-the-ball linebacker, more as an outside linebacker rushing, as opposed to, trying to get in with the run defense. And, even his coverage is not that great. He is great at chasing down tackles because he's fast, right? But, they still get downfield before he gets there. That's why he racks up so many fucking tackles. Anyway, I do like Jerome Baker, do think he was overpaid, and I also do think they misprioritized. There were other players, like I would have paid Mike Gesicki or Ogba then instead of Jerome Baker. They could have done something else with Baker, As a matter of fact, he's going into his 5th year, which means last year was still on his rookie deal. So they didn't even have to give him a motherfucker. He could have played on his rookie. He still could have been playing on his rookie deal. They didn't even have to give him a motherfucking contract extension, right? So they could have fucking took care of Agba or Gesicki, who now they have to figure out what they're going to do with, and they're more expensive than they were a year ago. So, especially Agba. So, and especially losing Agba, I mean, your offense really can't afford to lose any weapons. Whatever you think of Mike Gesicki, the offense really can't afford to lose any weapons. But whatever you think about Gesicki, I mean, losing Agba certainly would change the face of that defense pretty substantially, because we only really have two. We have, Jerome Baker being one, Andrew Van Ginkel being another. We have a couple guys that are like good at rushing the passer and stuff and being those blitzing linebackers. But overall, this unit struggles in its run defense and its coverage. And, that's kind of a problem. It's kind of a problem. So, the linebacking unit, right? Now, the defensive line's actually been pretty solid in its run defense, which has helped the linebackers mask some of those issues, but they're not very good at the run defense themselves. They do get washed out quite a bit. Landon Roberts is hit or miss, and I actually do think he should stay just because of some of that veteran presence, as well as, familiarity with the system and whatnot, and he could help a Nakobe Dean kind of, catch up quickly. And you do need a handful of guys, so I'd keep him too. But he, he's hit or miss. Jerome Baker gets washed out of a lot of plays, especially on run defense. So, anyway, again, I would have done things differently, but he's gonna be around for sure. He's gonna be on the team, but I think he should be. I'm not saying I don't think he should be. I just would have prioritized different players at that time. I think it would have made way more sense. It would have been way more efficient, because now you could give him a contract extension this year, or you could let him test free agency. That's a possibility too, but you could have gave him a contract extension this year, and you didn't have to give him one as pricey. Like, they definitely overpaid for what his skill set is and everything. So, you could have done it differently, but he's going to be around, and I do think he is a good piece and a solid part of this foundation for the linebacking core. But again, we definitely, and look, we can go after somebody in free agency too. Definitely not opposed to that. Although with linebacker, I'd probably try and get somebody that's a little cheaper, though. I definitely wouldn't spend a ton of money. I would just find, one or two guys that you think maybe that can bring into training camp, whether it be free agency or, undrafted guys or whatever, that can compete, because the linebacking unit as a whole does need some beefing up, even after you get like the depth and stuff, even after you get into Kobe Dean, should we, luck into that situation. But you could always draft one in the mid to late rounds too. But anyway, it's got some solid foundational pieces. And again, keeping the bigger, picture context, if they keep the rest of that defense intact, now cornerback is going to be a interesting situation, because I'm not there yet, but it looks like this is going to be important information, because it looks like the Patriots are not going to franchise tag J.C. Jackson, and it doesn't look like they're going to give him a deal either. They're going to let him test free agency, which is super interesting, because a little bit of a spoiler alert, because I've been kind of itching to get this out there. I will talk about it in that video, but I actually would let Byron Jones go, and I would bring in J.C. Jackson, because Howard is going to, and they've been talking to Howard. I mean, Howard is definitely leagues above Byron Jones. He always has been, because of his ball skills, right? And so, but J.C. Jackson is basically a younger version of Howard. If you paired those two on the outside, bro, oh my God. And that would make Belichick and that Patriots organization really question that move, because then you'd be hurting the Patriots and that defense, which is really stout. And oh man, the pairing of Howard and Jackson on the boundaries. But then anyway, the point really was, though, because that's getting a little bit ahead of myself. If you have Byron Jones and Howard out there at corner, and And then, our 2 young safeties and the defensive line, you probably got to pick up Christian Wilkins' fifth year option, right? That's probably something they're going to have to do too, or maybe give him a contract extension. Pay Ogba, right? As long as you keep the rest of that, the linebacking core doesn't need a ton of help, and it doesn't need to be completely revamped because we do have some pieces. All right. Anyway, now let me continue on. Round 3, 73rd overall, 2018. 4 years in, all with us. 64 games, 53 started, 3,597 snaps, 899.25 per year, 409 tackles total, 102.25 per year. And you love to see that number, but again, and he does have some good numbers, and when it comes to, his sacks, especially the past couple years, and quarterback hits and stuff, those are good, but that's what I'm saying. That's all he does. When you ask him to do those other things, like, help out in run defense, be a middle linebacker, and have to really cover guys, if you get good running backs out of the backfield, or if you get good slot receivers, or if you get good tight ends on him, he's probably going to get beat by a lot of those guys. So, he's good at chasing down the tackles, and he's good at being the blitzing off the ball outside kind of linebacker, or even, up the middle with as a delayed blitz or whatever, but as that blitzing linebacker. Anyway, 265 solo tackles, 66.5 per year, 144 assisted, 36 per year, 23 tackles for loss, 5.75 per year, 35 quarterback hits, 8.75 per year, 17 sacks, 4.25 per year. And like I said, decent product, but that's his lane. So that's where he needs to be used, and they overpaid for him for what he is. He does also have 3 interceptions, 0.75 per year, and 5 forced fumbles, 1.25 per year. No fumble recoveries, though. That's why it's not on the list. And he does have 14 passes defensed, most of which came at the line of scrimmage and stuff like that, right? Although some in coverage. Look, he's not terrible at coverage because he's fast, but he's also not very good at it. So, he still will let up receptions. He still will let up some yards and stuff like that. And, first downs and stuff like that. So, he's a piece. Anyway, 3.5 per year. He does have the 1 touchdown, 0.25 per year. And this last year, 16 games played, 16 started, 972 snaps. Like I said, I do like Jerome Baker, but he is a situational, and he's just one piece, and he needs to be in his lane for him to be the most effective. And that's been clear over the course of his 4 years so far. 92 total tackles. So, not even, but to be fair, he was being used more in that blitzing role, which does play to his strengths. So some of his other stats, even though he was a little low on his average for total tackles and stuff, he obviously set or matched some career highs in some other areas, which is good. Balance them out, but those are, anyway, you get the point. I've said enough about Baker. 62 solo, 30 assisted, 9 tackles for loss, 15 quarterback hits, and 5.5 sacks, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, 4 passes defensed. His grades, 972 snaps this year, 60.9 overall, 42.4 run defense, 76.2 pass rush, 66.1 coverage. Snaps 868 in 2020, 55.2 overall, 47.4 run defense, 61.7 pass rush, 61.3 coverage. So as you can see, his grades take PFF for what it is, but his grades do kind of corroborate what I'm saying, right? 2019, 1,079 snaps, 46.7 overall, 39.1 in run defense, 54.2 pass rush, and 60.1 in coverage. And then 678 snaps in 2018, 70.7 overall, 77.3 run defense, 64.6 pass rush, and 62.2 coverage. That was his best year too, really. I mean, I guess 2021 was all right, but overall, that was probably his best year. Vince Beagle, interesting. He's 28 going into his 6th year. It's cheap. He has had some injuries the past couple years, couldn't really stay out there. It showed some intrigue early on. Maybe you bring him into, training camp, see what he can do, see if you like him. I'm kind of indifferent about him. Wouldn't mind if he got cut, especially if someone else better comes in. But I wouldn't mind bringing him into at least training camp, seeing what's up with him. Round 4, 108 overall, 2017, 5 years in. first year with the Packers, then in 18 with the Saints, and then us from 2019 to present. 43 games, 10 started, 754 snaps, 150.8 per year, 81 total tackles, 16.2 per year, 42 solo, 8.4 per year, 39 assisted, 7.8 per year. Obviously, not much production, hasn't been used very much, and has battled with some injuries in recent years. So 9 tackles for loss, 1.8 per year, 13 quarterback hits, 2.6, 2.5 sacks, 0.5 per year, 1 turnover, 0.2, 1 pass defense, 0.2 per year. This past year, 5 games played, 6 snaps, 2 total tackles, 1 solo, 1 assisted. And then obviously you look at these numbers and the grades and stuff. 6 snaps this year, did grade out overall pretty well, 77.4 overall, 67 run, 68 pass with a 60 coverage. But he only played 6 snaps, right? Anyway, 0 snaps in 2020, 625 in 2019, 69.8 overall, 69.5 run, 59.7 pass rush, and 75.8 coverage. 2 snaps in 2018, a 59.4 overall. See, look, and he had bad grades here, but he only played 2 snaps. So 59, you can say the same thing either way. The same principle applies. 59.4 overall, 60 run, 59.1 pass, and didn't even get a coverage grade. 2017, 121 snaps, although I guess, yeah, no. 2021 is his best graded year, but on 6 snaps. And, 2019 is probably his best year. I mean, that's when he got the most snaps, right? But anyway, whatever. Bring him into camp, see what he's got. 63.7 overall, 71.3 run defense, 56.5 pass rush, and 78.7 coverage. This next guy, Sam Eguavoen, he's super interesting to me. But, like, he's shown some flashes, man. Some like, awesome flashes, but it's always just in training camp / the preseason. And either he never cracks the lineup, or when he does, he doesn't make any plays. And so he's one of those enigmas, but he just, I don't know. And like, the question for me with this dude, and again, like, I would definitely bring him into training camp and see, but my clock with him is running out, because, like, I'm not going to just keep having you in training camp and stuff and have you flash in training camp in the preseason and then offer me nothing at all. Like, is he ever, when we actually get to shit that matters, is he actually going to, like, break through and start having those flash plays on the defense, like, for real, right? Like, during the season, or not? Because if not, then you're kind of fucking useless to me, and, whatever amazing shit you show in the preseason doesn't fucking matter at all, right? So he's been one of those guys. Interesting. Again, I would give him another shot this year, though, and see what's up, because he is really cheap. 29, though, getting a little bit older, going into his 4th year. Obviously didn't start here. I think he was in another league for a little bit, maybe CFL. Was it CFL? He might have been in the CFL. Anyway, undrafted from 2019, 3 years in, 29 to present. 49 games played, 7 started, 885 snaps, 295 per year, 67 total tackles, 22.3 per year, 36 solo, 12 per year, 31 assisted, 10.3 per year, 8 tackles for loss, 2.7, 16 quarterback hits, 5.3 per year, 4 sacks, 1.3 per year, 2 fumble recoveries, 0.7 per year, 2 passes defense, 0.7 per year, 1 touchdown, 0.3 per year. And he did play in the most games, so he did play in 17 games, although, if I'm being honest, I think some of that includes special teams, because I didn't do special team snaps here, but he only had 181 snaps on the season defensive. These are his defensive snaps, so a lot of it had to have been special teams, so take that for what it is. He did play in the most games of his career, but then when you look at the rest of his stats, he had 16 total tackles, 9 solo, 7 assisted, 7 quarterback hits, not bad though in that limited amount of time, and a half sack as well. And then 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown. So, 181 snaps, you could also argue that that's not bad. 7 quarterback hits, a fumble recovery for a touchdown. That's not bad in 181 snaps. Now, will he produce more consistently? I don't know. Will he even crack the lineup? Because he did have a number of snaps in 2019, but other than that, 181 this year with a 63.3 overall, 62 run defense, and a 64.1 pass rush with a 56.4 coverage grade. 84 snaps in 2020, 62.1 overall, 51.7 run, 62.8 pass rush, 68.6 coverage. And the most snaps he got was in 2019, 620, 50.2 overall, 40.6 run, 56.6 pass rush, and a 61.9 coverage. So, you know, moving on, Darius Hodge. There's not much to this guy, honestly. He's going into his second year. He's 23. He's really cheap. He didn't even have, I couldn't even find any like pro day or combine stuff for him. This is all I got is his height and his weight. Undrafted from 2021, 1 year in. He actually did initially start with the Bengals, and then came over to us. Like they put him on his practice squad or some shit like that, and then cut him, and then we claimed him off waivers, and then now he's with us. He did end up in 4 games, played 6 snaps. But that's really it. Like, that's really it on this guy. So, you know, probably at least as of right now, just a developmental camp body, and see what happens with him, right? So, sure, let's see what he does. Let's see. There's literally just nothing on him. So, you know, with Sam Eguavoen, for example, we do have a few years on him, and he's shown some good things in preseason, but then after that, it's like nothing. So with him, the time's running out. This guy's got a pretty fresh clock at least, and, you know, he can show us what he's got. So Calvin Munson, 6th year, I would let him go, honestly. 27, have, you know, little over $1 million, current APY, cap hit, whatever. Measurables, pro day scores. He was undrafted in 17, 5 years in. Giants in 17, then he started with the Giants in 18, then went to the Patriots. 19 and 20 with us, started with us in 2021, then went to the Patriots, then ended up coming back to us. 42 games in, 7 games started, 523 snaps, 104.6 per year. 87 total tackles, 17.4 per year, 54 solo, 11.4 per year, 33 assisted, 6.6 per year, 6 tackles for loss, 1.2 per year, 2 quarterback hits, 0.4 per year, 2 sacks, 0.4 per year, 1 fumble, forced fumble, 0.2 per year. Not really much there. Nothing really that flashes, and I haven't even really seen him flash in the way that Sam Eguavoen does, or has at least. And so that's why for me, Sam Eguavoen should get another year, because at least he has at some point or other shown flashes. Haven't really seen much of shit from Calvin Munson, so they could let him go. I'd be fine with that. 10 games played, 12 snaps this year, 11 total tackles, 7 solo, 4 assisted, 1 tackle for loss. That's what I'm saying. Sam Eguavoen had, now this guy only had 12 snaps to be fair, but Sam Eguavoen at least had some other production, got a touchdown and shit. His PFF grades, 12 snaps at a 55.5 overall, an elite 84.5 run defense grade, but then nothing in pass rush and a 29 coverage grade. So there you have it, right? 47 snaps, that again though, on 12 snaps. 47 snaps in 2020, 46.9 overall, 55.7 run, 60 pass rush, 57.7 coverage, 76 snaps in 2019, 61.1 overall, 61.3 run, 52.4 pass rush, 61.7 coverage. No snaps in 2018 and 388. That was the most he has ever had in 2017, 42.9 overall, 48.6 run, 58.3 pass rush, and 42.4 coverage. Duke Riley, he's all right, in my opinion. I wouldn't mind having him in camp, you know, battle it out, see what you can do. 6th year UFA, 27, little over $1 million current cap hit or APY, you know, whatever. Measurables, combine, pro day. Draft status, round 3, 75th overall, 2017, 5 years in, 17 to 18 with the Falcons, spent a portion of 19 with the Falcons, then went to the Eagles for 2020, and then us for 2021 to present. 73 games, 27 started, 1,456 snaps, 291.2 per year, 185 total tackles, 37 per year, 109 solo, 21.8 per year, 76 assisted, 15.2 per year, 4 tackles for loss, 0.8 per year, 2 quarterback hits, 0.4 per year, half sack, 0.1 per year, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, all for 0.2 per year. 3 passes defense, 0.6 per year. 16 games played this past season. 3 started, 227 snaps, 26 total tackles, 15 solo, 11 assisted. I mean, you know, again, nothing really pops off the page, but I guess bring him into camp, see what he can do. 227 snaps, 67.2 overall, 61.9 run defense, 50.1 pass rush, 72.2 coverage, 569 in 2020, 55.1 overall, 57.3 run, 49.2 pass rush, 56.9 coverage, 29 snaps in 2019, 69.6 overall, 67.2 run, 59.7 pass rush, 64.1 coverage. 407 snaps in 2018, 41.4 overall, 28.7 run, 50.4 pass rush, 57.6 coverage. 224 snaps in 2017, 55.7 overall, 61.2 run, 52.8 pass rush, and 52.5 coverage. All right, now we get to Landon Roberts, who I did already mention. I would bring him back. I would... just for familiarity with the coaching staff, with that remains, with the system, with the other players, some continuity and veteran leadership, all that kind of stuff, right? And he is an all right guy. I think a decent piece for the foundation of that linebacking unit. Again, I do think it needs upgrades, and I would love to get Nakobe Dean. So, to really anchor that middle of the linebacking unit. But I think he's a solid piece to keep around for sure. At least, you know, for now until we can build it up and make it better, right? So he was a round 6 pick, 214 overall in 2016, 6 years in. Obviously started with the Patriots from 16 to 19, 2020 to present with us, 90 games played, 59 started, 2,484 snaps, 414 per year, 350 total tackles, 58.3 per year, 194 solo, 32.3 per year, 156 assisted, 26 per year, 29 tackles for loss, 4.8 per year, 20 quarterback hits, 3.3, 6.5 snacks, 6.5 sacks, 5.1 per year, 1 interception, 0.2, 4 forced fumbles, 0.7, 2 fumble recoveries, 0.3, 10 passes defensed, 1.7, 1 touchdown, 0.2, and 17 games played, 15 started, 621 snaps, 83 total tackles, 42 solo, 41 assisted, 6 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, 1 sack. He was all right? 1 interception, but obviously, you know, this was one of his best years because this is, he set and or matched, you know, a number of career bests here. 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, 4 passes defensed, and 1 touchdown. And he is a 2-time Super Bowl champion, obviously with the Patriots, Super Bowl 51 and 53 and 16 and 18 respectively. So 621 snaps this year, 54-1 overall, 55-6 run defense. His grades aren't very good though, obviously. 70 pass rush, 53.6 coverage, 402 snaps in 2020, 29.3 overall, 55. Although, how does that average out? I don't understand, but it is what it is. 55 run defense. That's why you do got to kind of take it at least with somewhat of a grain of salt or whatever when you do deal with these grades. 67.3 pass rush, 26.7 coverage. Although they do help and add some context to the situation, and you know, they're not like, they are right on occasions. As well on a good amount of occasions. So 202 snaps 2019, 61.9 overall, 64.1 run, 82.2 pass rush, 53.4 coverage, 430 snaps in 2018, 63.2 overall, 69 run defense, 71.6 pass rush, 52.1 coverage, 558 snaps in 2017, 48.3 overall, 50.6 run defense, 57.5 pass rush, 49.6 coverage, 271 snaps in 16, 64.5 overall, 70.9 run, 70.6 pass rush, 51.8 coverage. Brennan Scarlett, again, another guy that just whatever, I guess, bring him into training camp, but I wouldn't care if they let him go. He hasn't really shown me much of anything, honestly, 7th year, and he had some mistakes too. I think this past season, penalties or something that kind of cost us some big moments. 7th year UFA 28, little over $1 million current APY and stuff, measurables, pro day, draft status, undrafted out of 16, 6 years in, started with the Texans 16 to 20, 21 to present with us, 69 games played, 26 started, 1,466 snaps, 244.3 per year, 158 total tackles, 26.3 per year, 94 solo, 15.7 per year, 64 assisted, 10.7 per year, 11 tackles for loss, 1.8, 13 quarterback hits, 2.2, 5.5 sacks, 0.9 per year, 1 interception, 0.2, 3 forced fumbles, 0.5, 1 fumble recovery, 0.2, 6 passes defensed, 1 per year, 13 games played, 4 started, 166 snaps this past season, 19 total tackles, 6 solo, 13 assisted, 1 tackle for loss, 1 quarterback hit, 1 pass defensed. As for his grades, he got 166 snaps, 76.9 overall, 76 runs, 64.7 pass rush, no coverage grade. Didn't get any. These last couple guys didn't have any coverage grades at all, which was really interesting. Just all of a sudden, the linebackers stopped getting coverage grades. Anyway, 287 snaps in 2020, 55.7 overall, 48.3 run, 55.8 pass rush, 490 snaps in 19, 55.5 overall, 59.8 run, 63.2 pass rush. I leave it in this case though because they are supposed to, they are asked to, cover guys at times. Linebackers are usually running backs, sometimes slot receivers, sometimes tight ends, right? Anyway, 2018, 108 snaps, 89.9 overall, somehow with a 64.8 run and a 69.2 pass rush, but whatever. 302 snaps in 2017, 64.5 overall, 74.9 run defense, 49.7 pass rush, and 113 snaps in 2016, 62.3 overall, 67.5 run defense, 46.4 pass rush. Now we come to Andrew Van Ginkel, who, again, a lot like Jerome Baker, a guy we drafted, a guy I like, but is also very situational and kind of specific in what he can do, and is mostly tailored towards that, that pass rush, right? But I think he is a little bit better in the run defense and stuff than like Jerome Baker is. He's a little bit more well-rounded, I think, overall, but still pretty much a similar player to Jerome Baker and his skill set and what he's able to do. Anyway, going into his 4th year, still on his rookie contract, 26, 2.6, a little over 2.6 million current APY, measurables, combine, pro day, draft status round 5, 150. And, for what you get out of him for his draft status, I think he's just fine, right? And like I said, one of the good foundational pieces, you do need to get that true middle linebacker into Kobe Dean, please. And definitely would like to beef up that depth a little bit for sure, and some of the rotational guys that get put in. But other than that, and especially if the rest of the defense does stay intact, the linebacking unit doesn't need a ton of help. 3 years in, all with us, 39 games played, 26 started, 1,478 snaps, 492.7 per year. Has gotten a pretty decent workload though so far, right? 134 total tackles, 44.7 per year, 90 solo, 30 per year, 44 assisted, 14.7, 20 tackles for loss, 6.7 per year, 34 quarterback hits, 11.3 per year, 10.5 sacks, 3.5 per year, 4 forced fumbles, 1.3, 2 fumble recoveries, 0.7, 11 passes defense, 3.7, 1 touchdown, 0.3 per year. 17 games played, 14 started, 801 snaps, set, a number of set or matched a number of career bests, 71 total tackles, 50 solo, 21 assisted, 9 tackles for loss, 20 quarterback hits, 4 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 7 passes defensed. And on those 801 snaps, 61.8 overall, 71.7 runs, 70.1 pass rush, 480 snaps in 2020, 79.3 overall, 77.6 run, and a 78.1 pass rush, and then 197 snaps in 2019, 58.2 overall, 57.6 run, 54.2 pass rush. So there you have it. There are the linebackers. It is what it is. And like I said, half these guys you have, like Jerome Baker, Landon Roberts, and Andrew Van Ginkel, I think are solid foundational pieces, and if the rest of the defense stays intact, I don't think they need a ton of help. There's other guys like Darius Hodge and Sam Egwavon, right, who I would for sure bring into training camp, and then a couple of those other guys you can bring in, and then guys like Calvin Munson I wouldn't care if you let go, or Vince Beagle I'm kind of indifferent about, right? But I definitely think they should maybe pick up a guy in free agency, but your focus should be in this draft. You should be able to get a pretty good linebacker somewhere in this draft. Hopefully, if things turn out how I want them to turn out, dream scenario for me is getting to Kobe Dean in the first round, and then one of those running backs in round 2, and a wide receiver in round 3. And I would be so happy. Obviously, that being after having addressed the offensive line in free agency, also grabbing a wide receiver, and then you're looking pretty good going into this upcoming season. So I think you guys have heard enough about my philosophy, although I still have a handful of other videos to get through at the rest of the different positions. We got the entire defensive line. We got cornerbacks, then tight ends, then safeties, then backup quarterback is what we're going to be looking for, as well as specialist punter. I'm definitely going to be rolling those last 2 into the same video because they're obviously going to be pretty short. So roll those into the same video. I'll do both the deep dive breakdown of our current players for quarterbacks and specialists in the same video, as well as the free agent video. I will tie into one, even though there's a handful more players to look at in that video, but it's all going to be short, so I'll keep that all to one. But we still have a few more, so you will hear more about my philosophies, but that's how I would handle the offseason. I think that's the smartest, the most efficient, the best way to address the various areas of need, starting with the highest, being the offensive line, and then working your way down to the specialist punter, right? So that's how I look at it. Hope you guys appreciate it. Before I get out of here, make sure you check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all of your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like, they got it. And they are looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself, while also providing you with an arena to dispute the terrible officiating. So make sure you look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as on Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.
Miami wins it.